The first bill on the calendar for the day is House File 1079. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1079, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to state government, the second engrossment.
I call on the member from Ramsey, Representative Lilly, to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Feels a bit odd to be on the floor. So House File 1079 is the omnibus legacy finance bill, and happy to be here today. It's my second time on the House floor this year, so forgive me, and I'm trying to adjust to the new reader kind of situation. But in 2008, the voters of Minnesota passed a constitutional amendment to tax themselves 3/8 of 1%, and this money goes to some amazing programs all over the state. It goes into our habitat, protecting that and restoring. It goes into clean water. It goes into Minnesota's parks and trails, and it also goes into arts and cultural heritage area. There's been some incredible surveys that have been done, and this legacy amendment continues to be very popular. And as you'll find, this bill kind of journeys down the same path that we've seen the last couple terms, primarily with some variations, but continues the great work that was set off by Representative Murphy and Gunther and Erdahl. I think he's here somewhere. There he is, a new seat. I'm used to being right next to him. And who did I miss? Oh, Phyllis Kahn, I think. So anyways, it's quite similar. What we found in the last couple of years, and I'm sure you've been following the news, we hear this, this isn't funded by the general fund, this is funded by sales tax, and many people are home buying more and more things on the internet and making purchases, and so the revenue that we get as a state has gone up quite a bit in this area, so we're at about $650 million. And this money goes all over Minnesota and serves it well. But I'm going to start off, there's basically 4 categories, and I'm going to start with Lessard-Sams part, and that's 33% of the money. And that's funded, just so you know, there will be a bill this year that we're working on right now, hear this, and then there's another bill that'll come next year, so they're an annual, and the rest of the funds will be every, the biennium. So what happens is there's a Lessard-Sams Council, and it's made up of members. Representative Becker-Finn and Representative Heitzman are on there representing us. And there's I'm just getting used to seeing people. It's kind of fun. I miss everybody. Everybody's laughing at me so then what they do is they have a board of citizens, and they look at proposals, and honestly the proposals are about 6 inches thick, and these things are all over the state, and they whittle it down to come up with a proposal. So this bill, as you're seeing today, is basically tightly aligned with their proposals. We found that and includes it the proposals that they did. They do a good work, and apparently they've sent out information to all the members. I checked in with them today as far as they're starting to do applications for next year, and if you know of something in your area, please feel free to suggest something. Again, these go to all corners of the state for habitat restoration and buying some land, as we might hear about later, and restoring and protecting, but it's basically for hunting and fishing and restoring habitat all over Minnesota. And we added, there was, as I mentioned in the beginning, there was some money that we went with their suggestions, and then at the bottom line, there was some extra money that came in with that last forecast. So we spent some of that for grants that would go towards people that haven't had maybe access to these funds in the past, and trying to encourage knocking on different doors that we might not have been aware of this money. I know they're trying to do a great job of reaching out, but this is hopefully reaching out to new groups that have never seen some of this money. So that's, and keep in mind, these are all, there's many citizens on there, like Ron Shera and some other people, so it's kind of fun when you watch him on his TV show and to think that he's volunteering to serve Minnesota, and they come forward with these proposals, and they're really good. So moving on to the clean water part of the bill, the clean water part is also 33%, and it's funded, as I mentioned, for the biennium, so it's quite a bit of money. It's 200 and some $1 million. And these are going to projects. They also have a council, clean water council, and we're very closely aligned with these council recommendations. But we also we did a few tweaks, so we can get into those later or talk about them. But there's basically, this is closely aligned with the governor's proposal and the council. Again, that council is made up of members of the House and the Senate, and also has members of the citizens from all over the state of Minnesota, with the agencies that are helping to make these decisions. And it's pretty neat. I mean, during these last few years, you can see that they've really, if you get a chance to go up to Duluth, there's money in here, and through the last few years that's cleaned up that harbor up there, and it's just greatly improved. I mean, they talk about these huge sturgeon that are out there, and I mean, that's just one example. And these projects are working with farmers all over the state of Minnesota to clean up the water. And in the metro here, there's a trout stream they did here pretty close, like within a mile of here, and cleaning up ditches, and but there's all sorts of things in the bill that are really good. We added some things on, if you're following the news, there's quite a bit of issues on microplastics, and so we added some of that in, and that's actually really a good thing to to figure out some of this. And then we added some funds in for chronic wasting disease to test the water, and so these are some of the things that we added in, and I just think it's just minor tweaks to the Clean Water Council recommendations. There's also a River Watch program, and we're pretty excited about that, and we can hear more about that maybe later. But we had members from both sides of the aisle, and this is an opportunity to get kids on the water, and it's really a neat program. So moving on to the Parks and Trails portion of the bill, it's 14.75% of the bill. And a couple years ago, I was kind of lucky. I wasn't chair at the time, but maybe Representative Erdahl was. There was, I think he might have spearheaded kind of this Peace in the Valley. There's an agreement, and it's kind of been going on. It's a gentle persons agreement. So the DNR gets 40%, Greater Minnesota gets 20%, and the Metropolitan Council area gets 40%. And it's amazing. They all came in together, and they presented the bill together, and they really did a nice job of the projects. And what they're doing is they're really connecting all the systems. So we know the treasures up in, that already exist, like up in Representative Heitzman's area, the Cayuga, and down in David's area. We know about, like all the Harmony Trails and all that, but this stuff's going all over the state. I mean, there's just amazing things. And so this is building on it. I mean, it's millions of dollars every year going into enhancing these projects, and really nice work all over our state that we all can be very proud of. And I would imagine you have some right in your area, in your district, and you probably don't even know it. But and thank you, Representative Erdahl, for making that a little bit more of a happy place, because as chair, it was good. And just with the COVID thing, with everything going on right now, one of the if you would argue, one of the upsides is our parks and trails in Minnesota. People are getting outside. I'm sure you've noticed it. I mean, of course, it's been not too great the last few days, but people have definitely been getting out, and they're using this. And every one of our neighbors, and you just see it, the pressure, and millions and millions, like in just the Minneapolis system alone, but it's all over the state when you travel and you see people out enjoying the parks and trails. So I'm pretty proud of the work that we all should be proud, not just me, but we all should be proud of the work we're doing. So now on to the arts and cultural part of the fund. It's 19.25%. And it's actually a pretty neat area of the fund. Almost half of the money goes to our arts boards and arts organizations, from the biggest of the big in Minnesota to the smallest. And we have this the arts board that luckily we're not making these decisions because there's over 2,500 grants that are going out every biennium to different organizations, and these are all over. So, I mean, just amazing work that you'd see, I'm sure, in your districts that is going on with these arts funds. And just to backtrack for a second, the bill's pretty thick itself. But a third of it is almost made up of a lot of COVID-related extensions and those sort of things, which we'll be seeing, I'm sure, as all the other bills come through and down the pike. But let's be honest, the arts community has really suffered in the last few years. We've seen, obviously, you can't put a show on or whatever, so we're a lot of impact has been in all this whole arts and cultural, especially. So at the one side, you see parks and trails going through the roof and a lot of use and wear and tear, and then there is, on the flip side here in the arts, we're struggling with COVID. It's I talked to a leader today, and it's, just to put a play up takes 18 months before it actually, say today they decide that you can open up. I mean, it's going to take 18 months before you can get people in there and sitting in the seats. So there's also quite a bit of money that goes to our Historical Society for grants, and this goes all over the state. And in the Historical Society area, of course, I know this will come as a great surprise, there's this Litchfield Opera House is in there. Phase 7, I think. No, it's a neat project, and if you've ever had an opportunity to get out there. So we also, switching on to the libraries, we fund quite a bit of money towards the libraries of Minnesota. And again, there's some amazing programming that happens, and the libraries are all over the place, and there's just some of these amazing programs going on in the libraries. And so then we're getting down to, I'm almost done, sorry. But there's so many amazing things that are going on with these funds. Public radio and public TV. And an example, like with the public TV, I really challenge all the members to take a look. This was paid for by Legacy Fund, was the piece that was done by Jim Crow of the North. And take a look at that. And that was funded by Legacy money. And that's just an example. And it's just a wonderful piece of kind of telling a part of the dark side of Minnesota, our history, which I quite honestly didn't know. And we all could learn something from that. But that was funded by Legacy. There's some neat new things. I mean, there's science museums, there are traditional ones, Science Museum and children's museums, and we're trying to help the main one in St. Paul, but children's museums all over the state of Minnesota. And then Appetite for Change. What a neat program. So hopefully one of our members can tell you a little bit more about that later. And zoos, there's money for our zoos if you care anything about animals or love them. So the Minnesota Zoo, we're deeply committed to that. And the Duluth Zoo and the Minnesota Zoo, Children's Museums, I mentioned that. But, and now to get into, last biennium we were able to start some cultural equity grants. and we had a commitment to it as a House, and our committee really met a lot and had a lot of deep discussion, and we decided to grow that fund quite a bit. It's gone from about $1.5 million up to over $7 million, and we're super excited, and I hope some of the members can speak to that, but there's some amazing opportunities for some of our cultural groups that just haven't had access to these funds in the past, and I was really happy to see it's in the Senate bill as well to a robust level, and hopefully we can get them closer to our number, but these are some great projects. So there's some language that's kind of tucked in here, and we're just to be honest, we're trying to encourage people to get jobs, all these funds, so you'll kind of see the language throughout. We want people, out and exploring these and maybe have careers or opportunities. So we ramped up the Conservation Corps again and try to be committed to them, and then also having a little bit more of an equity spin on it so that they're hiring people that don't normally have opportunities or even know that they exist, and maybe become build a trail or to work in the arts area. So I'm super excited about that, and so the bill is good. I had a very strong committee, and thank you to Representative Green and your team. I was really, sometimes I wonder if, people think that he honestly doesn't like legacy or anything. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that he cares about this body and the money we spent, and I deeply respect him for asking hard questions, and his team and our team too. We really stepped up on both sides of the aisle and challenged everybody this year even more, because there are some people that kind of get lulled to sleep a little bit. They might get money year after year. We're in we're kind of, I call it like halftime. We're in about the 13th year of the 25-year deal, and I think we all on both sides of the aisle really stepped up and challenged the people to look at themselves and answer questions of how they're spending the money and what they're doing with it. So with that, I think I'll sit down, and I know there's some amendments, but I have other members that I'm hoping that can talk deeper into the bill. But thank you, Madam Speaker and members, and I think it's a bill that we all can be proud of.
There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Erdahl moves to amend House File Number 1079, the second engrossment. The amendment is coded A13.
The member from Meeker, Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. The proposed social studies standards currently under review are calling for a lot of emphasis on indigenous culture and history. There is no curriculum for this, and only a handful of people in the state with the knowledge to teach it. Representative Dabney, in his Education Omnibus Bill, does address this, but the language provides guidelines for what the standards should be. In my interpretation, it doesn't create a curriculum. I'm asking for $25,000 to do this. This relatively small appropriation actually spends money to develop Indian-made history curriculum. Now, this request came from the Fond du Lac Band and was supported by their chairman. The chairman of the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council also supports this. What I'm trying to do is to get American Indian curriculum actually developed by American Indians. I would ask Chair Lilly that you accept this and that you work with Representative Dabney to ensure that the goal that I think we all have is addressed. Thank you.
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Erdahl. I'm glad we had an opportunity to visit again just a few minutes ago on this, and I'm happy to accept this amendment, and we can continue to work on this. And I know you have I've had some inquiries to Chair Daphne, and so hopefully we can get it the way that will be better for everybody. Thank you, sir.
Any
Encourage
further
a green vote.
discussion to the Erdahl A15 amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Green moves to amend House Bill number 1079, the second engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A12.
There is an amendment to the amendment. The clerk will report the amendment.
Green moves to amend his amendment to House File number 1079, the second engrossment as amended. The amendment to the amendment is coded A18.
Members, Representative Green is moving his amendment. This amendment to the amendment did not make the pre-filing deadline. However, pursuant to Rule 3.33, paragraph C, I have determined that this is a technical amendment correcting a drafting error. Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and that is correct. There was a slight error in the final calculation. It will not change the amount of money that's allotted, and I would appreciate a yes vote.
All those in favor of the Green amendment to the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those who are opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The amendment to the amendment is adopted. On the underlying amendment as amended, Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The A12 amendment was actually in the form of a bill, and it was brought to me by the Coalition of Allied Coalition of Allied Vietnam War Veterans. The coalition is an international coalition of foreign national, United States military, and agency veterans, and they're headquartered in St. Paul. In your packets today, or at least I hope that they got out, I think I got them out in time, but in the packets today, there's a lot of letters of support, and I hope you've had time to look through those letters. The bill appropriates $9 million, and we've taken the money out of the Historical Society, and then half of it out of the Historical Society over 2 years, and the other half out of public television over 2 years. And what this bill will do, it will allow this coalition to put together a documentary. It's a 9-part documentary, and it is designed to tell the story of all the Southeast Asian veterans that fought alongside our troops in Vietnam. There was a public television had put out a documentary a few years ago, but a lot of the groups that came to me with this bill felt that they were left out of that documentary, and they were pretty passionate. And if you've read the testimony, you'll see what I mean by that. They have said that they're going to take all this money and spend it in Minnesota, which is one of the main things that we look for when we try to spend legacy funds. They've got almost everything in place. In fact, they do have everything in place, but they have a director ready to go and a producer. And one of the reasons that this is brought now, I tried to bring it last year, but I got it in too late, and then this year, because of COVID, was a little late, but this time is of the essence on this bill, because they want to finish this project by 2025, which would be the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. And it's also important because these folks are getting older, and they're afraid that if they wait too much longer, a lot of their stories will be lost. And so as we bring this forward, and like I said, I hope you've had time to read the amendments, or excuse me, the testimony, and I would stand for questions, and I would ask for a roll call on this, Madam Chair. Madam
Representative
Speaker.
Green requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. I'm not as worried, that it came late in the session. I appreciate that. My concerns are different than that a little bit. It just so members know, Ken Burns, I think it was, did a big story, and back when we could meet in person, I had an opportunity to meet some of these generals that came in, and a person with them, and I kind of heard about this. It's a little bit of a I just don't, it's such a large number. I mean, it's like 9 million, and I mentioned, it's coming out of Historical Society, which is doing good work all over the state, and public TV. So it's just not totally fleshed out. And then, so last time when you were bringing it, Representative Green, I think it was 300,000. And then during the biennium, or in committee, you had talked, it was 6 million, and now we're up to 9 million. So, I mean, I don't want to be, it just doesn't seem like it's totally flushed out yet. And I'm not totally against trying to figure out a way to navigate to have you and figure out these guys and people be successful, but it just doesn't seem like it's quite there ready. And I appreciate you bringing it forward. I would encourage members at this time probably to, not probably, but I just encourage members to vote it down. Thank you, Representative Green.
Any further discussion to the Green amendment? Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will answer those questions. The reason that you saw the number increase was when I first brought it forward, we were trying to break it up into years so that we could take some each year. And the bill still does the same thing. It's just that because of the time constraints, we're running out of time, and so we need to move that forward a little quicker. The part about the Historical Society, this is what the Historical Society should be doing. And so we're not really taking anything away from the Historical Society, Mr. Chair, but what we're doing is actually doing what the legislature should do, which is we're getting more involved in the projects that we're picking. We're looking at projects and saying, yes, we as a legislator either approve or disapprove this. And so that's what this vote is. Will the legislature look at this and say, yes, this is a worthy cause, and we believe it should fit in these parameters that were set forward for legacy? And I believe that that's exactly what it does. Or are we saying that, no, we're just going to bypass this and run the risk of allowing some of these stories to disappear into history? So I hope the members of the House will reconsider and adopt this amendment. Thank you.
The member from Lyon, Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Representative Swedzinski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I just rise in support of the Green Amendment. I think this is an opportunity, Representative Lidley mentioned early in his comments talking about, underserved or underutilized people and the need to talk and tell their stories and have access to these dollars. We're in the 13th year. And I think among a lot of these communities, my guess would be that very few dollars have been spent in these particular communities that Representative Green addresses. And I think, obviously we're still in the process. The bills that are coming out of the Senate, the bills that are going to be coming out of the House are going to be different. The visions of the Senate and the House will be different, and the governor's office. And I think Representative Green really has done his work. He has reached out to communities that have been underserved in the past. And, I think they deserve that their story be told. And I think we all have an opportunity today not to vote against historical societies, but to vote for people that fought for our opportunities here in America. And I don't think you should view this vote as anti-historical society. You should look at it as an opportunity to support communities of color, communities that have maybe not had their story told. And that's obvious. I think if you look at the testimony that's provided by Representative Green, it is a great opportunity to tell their story. And I think it's one that's been missed in past documentaries. And whether it's $5 million or $9 million when it's all said and done, or $2, I think we can just stand here and just make a vote in positive that is in support of this amendment. And I would support members to not view this as a gotcha, not view this as an opportunity to stand against your historical societies, but allow the legislature to have a proper role in this process. And I support it, and I appreciate Representative Green for bringing it forward. Thank you very much.
The member from Washington, Representative Detmer.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Green, for bringing this forward. A little history here. As my time in the legislature, I've been working with different veterans groups that have come into my office over the years, and the Hmong group that has come to my office over the years, and also this Southeast Asian group that has come. And the group that we're talking about have been kind of set off to the back burner, so to speak, by the legislature. I really believe this is something we should be doing for this group. If you talk to a lot of our American veterans who served during the Vietnam War, this group played a big role in helping our soldiers, aircraft that have been shot down, and they saved a lot of our pilots during this time frame. And then they sacrificed a lot of their own families during this time. And I really believe that bringing this to our attention to the state of Minnesota and allowing them to tell their story would be a great thing for our state of Minnesota. So thank you, Representative Green and Representative Lilly. I hope that we can work this out, because this group needs to have their recognition like other groups have. Thank you.
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Representatives. Having served a few terms with Representative Green, I know he's not a game player. You know, this is from his heart. When I don't usually get up, I think it's a bad idea after to stir the pot, but I just want to say that there's so many good things in here for veterans, and thank you, Representative Detmer and others in here that have children or serve themselves. Thank you. But there's some really great things that we've done for veterans, and the Veterans Voices program, we all should be proud of through this Humanities Society. And I think Representative Erdahl started that. I'm not certain, but there's some really good things in here that is happening for veterans. Representative Anderson has a provision, I didn't mention it, maybe he's gonna, in the third reading, maybe he's gonna talk about, but he's got an opportunity for veterans that are hunting to get out and have some opportunities. So there's all sorts of great things in here for veterans. And I just hope, Representative Green, I'm not done working with you. I want to work with you, and we can figure out a solution if there is one. And but there's money on the bottom line that goes into all these cultural grants that we're talking about. They can go after that, or we can help them, you know, to get arts money, or we can. I'm happy to work with you, sir. So, but at this time, I'm gonna speak against this.
Representative Green.
Thank you for all your input here on the House floor. I'm just going to close with this. I know that a lot of times the votes are a pre-drawn conclusion, but I've looked into the faces of these veterans, and I've seen I guess for the lack of a better word, the pain in their eyes that they were promised a chance to get up and have their stories told. They feel that they were slighted in the last go-around. And it's good to say that you'll work with me, and I know that you mean that, but we don't have a lot of time, and that's the bottom line. Time is running out. And you know, a lot of the people that I talk to on this, they don't just consider this a way to simply tell their story, but it's a matter of honor to them. That not so much that they would tell the story, but that they've been left out. And so I really hope that there's enough people reconsider. I don't think we're hurting the Historical Society in any way in this. This is what we do. These are decisions that we make. And as we get more into the legacy bill as we go on, this is going to be kind of a resounding theme for me, that we are the decision makers. People will come to us with advice, recommendations, but we are the ones with the election certificates that make these decisions. And so I would ask everybody for a green vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the Green amendment. Members voting remotely, please vote. Will the clerk please call the roll of those who have not voted yet?
Baker.
Baker votes aye.
Baker, aye. Becker, Finn.
Becker, Finn, no.
Becker, Finn, no. Berg. Berg. Davids.
Davids votes aye.
Davids, aye. Damath. Damath, aye. Fisher.
Fisher, no.
Fisher, no. Franzen.
Franson, yes.
Franzen, aye. Gomez.
Gomez, no.
Gomez, no. Grossel.
Grossel, aye.
Grossel, aye. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, aye.
Gruenhagen, aye. Hanson, J.
Hanson, J, no.
Hanson, J, no. Hausman.
Houseman, no.
Hausman, no. Hollins.
Hollins, no.
Hollins, no. Katiza Watun.
Katiza Watun, no.
Katiza Watun, no. Kosnick.
Kosnick, aye.
Kosnick, aye. Kreshaw.
Kreshaw, aye.
Kreshaw, aye. Lilly. Lilly, no. Listlegard.
Listlegard, no.
Listlegard, no. Mariani.
Mariani, no.
Mariani, no. Mason.
Mason, no.
Mason, no. Olson, B.
Olson, B, aye.
Olson, B, aye. Pearson.
Pearson, aye.
Pearson, aye. Pinto. Pinto.
Pinto, no.
Pinto.
Pinto, no.
No. Pryor.
Pryor, no.
Pryor, no. Sandsted.
Sandsted, no.
Sandsted, no. Sundin.
Sundin, no.
Sundin, no. Thompson.
Thompson, no.
Thompson, no. Berg.
Berg, no.
Berg, no.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 62 ayes and 69 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Green moves to amend House File Number 1079, the second engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A15.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The A15 amendment is something that I've been actually trying to accomplish for all the years I've been here. We make decisions all the time in Environmental Committee and in Legacy Committee on where to spend money on lands, how we regulate our farmers, how we dole out different penalties and whatever for different even nutrients that we're putting on the land. And one of the things I've asked for the last 9 years is how much nitrogen occurs naturally on these lands. Because nitrogen is not a chemical, nitrogen is a nutrient. And without it, nothing grows. And so what this bill does, it does not add any money or take any money away. It actually puts a project in the legacy bill under the Department of Agriculture. And there's 3 spots in Minnesota that are untouched, basically. One is called the Lost 40. It's 40 acres of timberland that, because of a mix-up in the mapping, I believe it was supposed to be mapped as a lake, but it was actually, so now it's virgin timber, nothing's ever been on it. There's another area in a scientific and natural area, and it's a hardwood forest, but it's in a park. It's also untouched. So one is a pine forest, one's a hardwood forest, and there's another area over in the Blue Mountains area, it's prairie. All 3 of these areas now should be able to give us a good idea of how much nitrogen is occurring naturally on lands that are not farmed, not logged, and not lived on. And so what this amendment does is just simply ask to give us information on this question. How much nitrogen is occurring naturally? It's not any kind of thing to try to go out and damage what we've done. It's just information, that's all. And I think it's important, if we're going to continue to use the statistics that we have coming from our agencies to make policies that affect so many people across the state, mostly farmers, but other people as well, that we know where the starting point is. So, Madam Speaker, that's the amendment. If there's any questions, I'll answer them, but I'd appreciate a yes vote.
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. I appreciate your effort on this. I'm a little uncomfortable with us getting into deep ag policy and the legacy bill and kind of telling agencies, you know, where the pollution is and different things. I had an opportunity just to I Googled the Blue Mountains park, and I toured there a couple of years ago, and I forgot you know, be honest, how beautiful it is, and with the buffalo and all that. And I don't know if you had an opportunity to get down there. It's really neat. But on a side note, the Legacy has funded, they've got shuttle buses that are little carts that take people out to see the buffalo, but that's Legacy funded. But that's, I'm going to encourage members to vote no on this, and to let the Ag Committee or the Environment Committee kind of dig deeper and to figure out what the deeper issues on fertilizer or nitrogen or all that. I'm certainly not an expert on it, and I'm pretty sure the rest of my committee, or our committee, isn't quite ready for this yet. Thank you, sir.
The member from Pope, Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a very modest request, and I support Representative Green on this. Those of us in ag have wondered, and with good questions, what are the baseline numbers in terms of nutrients in the soil? And again, this very modest request to do some testing on really some virgin ground, I think, is a good starting point to establish what baseline numbers could be in the soils of Minnesota. So, Madam Speaker, I support the Green Amendment. Thank you.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Frankly, this is about knowledge, and it's about knowledge of the land undisturbed by man, by people. This is about knowledge of the legacy of the state that is still around. This knowledge will help us understand how things have changed and how things are. The amendments we've been hearing, to me, speak a lot about legacy, whether it was the one about the, having a curriculum and having Indian nations generate, that's about legacy. The amendment about the, documenting the legacy from the Vietnam War and our allies and the people that fought during that conflict, that's legacy. And this is also legacy because it's legacy of the earth. And I would hope that we could support better understanding of this legacy in this pristine land so we can make better decisions, whether in the legislature or in the different departments and agencies. So I'm hoping we can have green votes on this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Anoka, Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I don't normally speak on sort of ag-related things, but I was shocked that we don't have a baseline on the amount of nitrogen naturally occurring in our soil, and yet we're making policy year after year regarding what farmers can and cannot put on their soil to make the crops grow. And we're regulating the heck out of it, and we don't even have a baseline? Representative Lilly, I greatly respect you and the work that you do on this committee, but to say that the committees, you know, they're not up to speed on the science, that's why you do a test like this. That's why you do research like this, so that we have something to go on. I don't know why the board wouldn't be completely lit up green on something like this. You know, if we're going to follow the science in all that we do around here, then we shouldn't be, you know, shooting blanks and shooting into the wind on this stuff. We should know what we're dealing with in order to inform our policy moving forward. Again, I'm shocked that we don't have a baseline on nitrogen that's naturally occurring in the soil, and I would just encourage a green vote from every member. Thank you.
Further discussion to the Green A15 Amendment. Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just need to address a little bit about what Chair Lilly said as far as not getting into the ag. The Legacy Amendment is already into the ag, Chair Lilly, and one of the things you're going to hear from me later is just how much of the money in Legacy is spent on monitoring and strategies and all the other things that don't really ever have an outcome. This particular monitoring will, within the next few years, give us an outcome. It'll give us something that we don't see very often in our legacy bill, which is a conclusion. It may be good for the farmers, it may be bad for the farmers, it may be good for other groups or bad for other groups, but it is information, and that's what we're looking for. So I would hope you'd reconsider and vote yes on this amendment.
Seeing the member from Hennepin, Representative Cleaborn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would just like to say to Representative Green, I appreciate the question that you're asking. I serve on the Agricultural Committee for this House, and I would be willing to work with you on this issue, and maybe even with Representative Anderson going forward in the agricultural bill. So I would welcome an opportunity to have that conversation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Seeing no further discussion, all of those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Aye. The motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 1079, as amended.
Third reading as amended. Discussion to the bill. The member from your county is covered up. Representative Keeler.
From Clay. Thank you, Madam Speaker, Chair Lilly, and members. I just want to talk about a couple things because I'm so proud to stand up and represent the area that I'm from. I love the opportunity to invest in our kids. One of the pieces in this bill is around our River Watch program, and so I just want to give a highlight to what this program does and why I think it's so beneficial that we support it in our area. And then also we reached out and worked with Representative Bowe so that he can start to create this opportunity in his community as well. What this does is it gets kids out into nature, and I think we've talked about that a lot in the pandemic and how important that is, but also what it does is it plants the seeds to see possibilities of future professions and how we invest in clean water. And so just really appreciate you allowing us the opportunity to share this program, and I wanted to highlight that. But also, while I'm talking, I want to acknowledge and appreciate Representative Erdahl for all of your work in making sure that we focus on cultural revitalization through language and through our education opportunities. And so I appreciate the work that you're doing and hope that we can continue to focus on this. Thank you.
The member from Pope, Representative Anderson.
You're muted, Paul.
I believe I'm.
We can hear you, Representative Anderson.
Thank you. Gee, that was the best part of my speech too, Madam Speaker. So thank you. Again, appreciate the work of Chair Lilly and the committee, Legacy Committee, for all of the fine things they put into the bill. And the thing he mentioned about helping veterans was an appropriation that we had for those of us here in central Minnesota called Midwest Outdoors Unlimited, where they provide hunting trips for disabled veterans and others. And it's so appreciated by the folks that take part in that. And again, I just want to say thank you for that. But Madam Speaker, I do think I need to highlight some serious shortcomings in the Clean Water Fund appropriations part of this bill. And I'm looking specifically at the funding for our state soil and water conservation districts. You may recall that the SWCDs have received clean water funding in each of the last 3 bienniums in recognition of their critical role in providing the boots on the ground technical assistance all across our state to implement the priorities of the Clean Water Fund. But in this bill, in its first year, it provides $12 million in clean water funds for SWCDs, but it adds some specific priorities for that funding. I don't disagree that working on pesticides and nitrate contamination is important work, but we should not be giving SWCDs half the funding they traditionally receive and then limiting who can receive that funding and what that funding can be used for. The SWCD's capacity grants, which we have provided now for these past 6 years that all SWCDs receive, are our acknowledgement that there are locally identified and state-approved priorities for water quality and soil health all across the state that need to be addressed by our locally elected SWCD boards. Not only does this legislation lay out new criteria for SWCD funding for the first year, but there are no capacity grants provided in the second year of the biennium. And instead, there are 3 smaller grant programs for soil health. And again, worthy issues to work on, but this approach would mean a massive loss of our traditional boots on the ground that we have come to rely on for delivery of the many clean water priorities that we all agree are important here in Minnesota. Putting it plainly and a bit bluntly, this approach for funding is inadequate. It's also misguided and sends a message to our SWCDs all across Minnesota that we cannot get our act together and come together to properly fund the work that we all agree is so critical to our state and the people that enjoy our state. So, Madam Speaker, I rise to bring this to your attention and hope that we can come together with a different funding mechanism for our SWCDs here in Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Hassan.
Madam Speaker and members, this feels a little weird. This is the first time I'm in here since COVID-19, so bear with me. Madam Speaker and members, I rise today in support of House File 1079, the Legacy Omnibus Bill. I first want to thank Chair Lilly and his team for all the work that they have done. I'll be speaking on the equity provisions in this bill. We're doing direct appropriations to entities that serve BIPOC communities around this state, and that's intentional equity. COVID-19 has shed a light on our structural flaws and the historic, systemic, and institutional factors that has contributed to our disparities experienced by BIPOC communities across the state, which is amplified by the fact that we don't have enough voices at the decision-making tables. If we want to make structural change, we must remove all barriers that stand in the way for some members of our communities. In this bill, we're funding cultural and ethnic programs around the state. We're funding projects that teach our different cultures and heritage and celebrate different cultures and heritage. We're allocating funds for the African American Museum, the Somali Museum, the Hmong Museum. We're funding projects that support the inclusion of Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and Asian cultures and heritage. The beauty of our Minnesota culture is our diversity. It's imperative to teach our kids about other cultures and heritage, as it helps expand their worldview and understand others better. I am a strong believer that if communities are not talking to each other, they're talking about one another. Building connections and learning from one another is our strength and should be celebrated every day. The funding in this bill would allow us to preserve our minority communities, cultures, and heritage, and that's why I'm a strong supporter of this bill. I asked for a green vote. Thank you.
The member from Ramsey, Representative Jay Zhang.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank Chair Lilly for working with our BIPOC communities, listening and acting. Members, I stand before you in favor of the legacy bill, which will support great projects on the east side of St. Paul with enormous ramifications for not only arts, culture, and systems, but in the cause of greater equity. The organizations and projects this bill will fund include the Black Arts Center, the Wakan TP, Hmong Cultural Center, Hmong SGU Veteran Stories, Two Psych Unites Hmong Museum, Lao Assistance Center, Karen and Thai Arts and Cultural Communities, includes the state's largest Latino-led nonprofit, which works hard to ensure the advancement of social and economic equity and well-being for Latinos in Minnesota. This bill is historic in many ways. The communities of color and indigenous organizations that this bill will support is a first in many ways, which will uplift the long lost, often marginalized and forgotten or oppressed peoples in our communities. Supporting Wakan TP will bring back the rich and often forgotten history of the First Nations of our country, the very first people whose lands we stand upon and have given new place names and paved over with roads and sidewalks. It resurrects the rich history and vibrant culture of a people who have been destroyed and continue to be resilient and live among us as neighbors, friends, and colleagues. It will pay homage to the great ancestors of all of us since the dawn of human civilization that had stewarded this land so that we and our children can enjoy its abundance. Supporting the Hmong Cultural Center, Hmong Special Guerrilla Unit, Veteran Stories, Two Psych Unites, the Hmong Museum will ensure that the largest Asian community in St. Paul and in the state has a place to call home and remain a rich gathering place of Hmong history, culture, and arts. Minnesota remains a mecca where scholars, activists, artists, musicians, dancers, cultural healers, and storytellers, professionals, and merchants from all over the world have moved to or visit to call home or to see as a cultural destination for Hmong in the entire Western diaspora, if not the world. It was only one generation ago that Minnesota took the title away from California as the state in the union with the largest Hmong American population. And we deserve that title, and we must maintain it. We need to invest in today where we have divested or not historically invested in yesterday. This is a way we can move forward together and uplift everyone, supporting the Latino organization CLUES is the most important and logical thing to do, literally in this moment of a raging global pandemic. This is a once-in-a-century tragedy, and organizations like CLUES are uniquely positioned and exist for this very moment to inform and help support their communities to be healthy, safe, and help bring holistic wellness to their clients. Supporting the 30,000 feet Black Arts Center on the east side will help us address some historical trauma and inequities in our community. We can begin to heal and lift each other by allowing and supporting the African American community in their expressions of art, culture, and joy. If the sovereignty of cultural art is not defended and promoted, maintained and respected, then what to any people is the notion of self-respect and dignity. That's what this is about. I hope that you stand with me, voting green, supporting this historical amendment so that our communities can flourish and be their whole selves and continue to thrive on the east side of St. Paul. And that way we remain a shining city on the hill for what the best of America represents. A place of refuge, a place of welcoming love, and a place where hard work is valued and cultural respect is treasured. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Traverse, Representative Backer.
Yeah, Madam Speaker and members, thank you so much. A couple of things here. I, just like Representative Anderson, is extremely concerned about the funding for soil water conservation districts. What we did back in 2015 and 2017 for the funding made sense. When I talk to constituents in the district I represent, that is what that clean water money was for. And I'm really I'm sad. I mean, I respect the chair of this committee. I do respect him greatly, but I have to say I'm not at all in favor of what's being done. This is what this money was intended for. This is why Minnesotans pay that extra dollars and make that investment for clean water. I'm also concerned that we're not investing some more of that clean water into our communities across the state for wastewater plants. Again, clean water. Doesn't matter what size of the community is, if it's Minneapolis, St. Paul, or Graceville, Minnesota, or Browns Valley, or whatever, and Wheaton. That is what that money is for. So I'm concerned that we've not seen that in this bill. Also, the amount of land that is being purchased is a concern. I was talking to a constituent of mine this afternoon who serves as a county commissioner, and he was sharing me a story in which private citizens were outbidded by the state for land. And in this district that I represent, this large agricultural district that feeds America and send products around the world. That is a concerning. Also, the same gentleman was sharing me times in which private citizens aren't even aware that the land is being purchased by a state agency dealing with funds like this. And this citizen obviously serves as a county commissioner, so he's the closest to the constituents that I represent. So I'm just really continuing to be concerned. And in our area, when you take out land and purchase it through the clean water and purchase lands through the legacy funds, now it takes it off the tax rolls, and now we have less area to fund, to tax, to fund the services that state government demands from our counties. A lot of times the counties can't even say no to it. So with those things there, I am going to be voting against it. Again, I respect the chair on his effort, but those are real concerns that I have with this bill. And thank you, Madam Speaker and members, for your time.
The member from Ramsey, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. There are a few of us here who were here when the amendment was passed. Chair Lilly was one of those. The Speaker was another. And it's interesting how we look over these 13 years, how quickly the 13 years have gone by. One of the things we learned when we were doing the amendment is it's really important to talk about purpose. It's really important to talk about why we're doing what we're doing. And so in the clean water portion, I want to talk about why we as a group made some changes in the environmental committee. It's been referenced that the soil and water conservation districts have received capacity funding. In committee, we heard this referred to as base funding. The legacy grants, legacy funds, whether they are outdoor heritage, whether they are clean water, whether they're parks, arts, or heritage, are not base funding. They're supposed to be something special. That something special was promoted to the people of Minnesota, emphasized by a child jumping off the dock at a lake in the promotional campaign for the amendment. Something special above, not something to replace, not something to supplement, but something special. In 2015, a large amount of money was taken from the fund to fund soil and water conservation districts, a worthy goal, but it wasn't something special. At the time, it was talked about for buffer compliance. What it became was essentially $100,000 for each soil and water conservation district each year around the state, regardless of size, regardless of need, regardless of population. So what is done in the Clean Water Fund this year, we recognize that after 6 years of receiving millions of dollars in clean water funding, it is hard to stop that. So the first year there is money that's provided, as has been done in the past. But in the second year, the funds are allocated on a grant process for specific purposes, purposes that we believe will actually meet the constitutional requirement of the Clean Water Fund, protect and restore and enhance surface waters, groundwater, and drinking water. The Clean Water Council has done a good job in making recommendations. We made additional recommendations on top of the funds that were allocated by the Clean Water Council because, as Chair Lilly said, more money has come in. Things have changed since the Clean Water Fund and all the other funds were established. At that time, we didn't know about the issue of microplastics. We didn't know that microplastics were showing up in waters and now showing up in people and showing up in our wildlife. So to get a better assessment of this, we asked 2 years ago for the agencies to be looking for microplastics, looking like other states have done and have been done around the world, to get a better assessment with each of the multiple agencies who deal with water in Minnesota to look for microplastics. Because of COVID, that work did not start. But it must start and it must continue, and we must look quickly for the impacts of microplastics because of this hidden small microplastics in water getting in us and getting in wildlife is not something that we want. So that assessment is something new that is needed. In addition, we've had contaminants that have been around for a long time, PFAS, and that are going to be around forever. So we need to look, as other states are starting to do, for establishing a health risk limit for PFAS. In addition, 12, 13 years ago, we didn't know as much about neonicotinoids. They were a new pesticide. Now we know that they're showing up even in deer spleens. So again, what is the health impact in water for having the Department of Health establish health risk limits for water for neonicotinoids? Finally, in the issue of looking at what can happen with chronic wasting disease in water, is water a way that the chronic wasting disease prions can move? We have a crack team of researchers at the University of Minnesota have been doing great work. And this is some work where it's well thought out, well vetted, and presented to committees as well as the Clean Water Council of the need for this research. It is worthy to fund. Back when the Clean Water Fund was established, we invested in LIDAR. And now 13 years ago, people are asking for LIDAR mapping again so we can have a better assessment of the geography of Minnesota. So we're asking the Clean Water Council to take that and look at the task. Do we need more LiDAR mapping? Will it help and help protect clean water? Finally, to bring forth equity, we're looking at replacing lead service lines. We're looking at trying to protect, to deal with infiltration in areas of economic and environmental justice. These are things that we didn't think about back in 2008. But to protect water for everyone, we need to implement these types of research and protection and remediation types of work. The Clean Water Bill is a very big bill within an even larger bill. We have been spending between $60 and $70 million a year on voluntary conservation practices to protect groundwater and surface water. That is more probably than any other state, and we've been doing it for 13 years. We have 12 years to go. Spending the money and counting the acres is not enough. We have to have outcomes that actually produce clean groundwater, clean surface water, and clean drinking water. And this bill moves us in that problem-solving way to help. So when we can look back at the end of 25 years, we actually accomplished something. We actually did something. And that we were flexible to look at the new contaminants and the new challenges that occurred as the amendment has been moving. As Chair Lilly mentioned, we are at the midpoint. And that midpoint leads to reflection, but also to modification and to make sure we do the best that we can for Minnesotans. I urge a green vote.
The member from Meeker, Representative Erdahl.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I'd like to thank Chair Lilly for the work that he's put in on this bill, for being fair, for recognizing all of Minnesota's needs, and certainly like to thank Lead Green for the many valuable points that he brings up as well. The Legacy Amendment speaks volumes about the dedication of Minnesotans to the outdoors and culture. In 2008, in the middle of the Great Recession, Minnesotans voted to raise their taxes because they wanted to enhance, protect, and restore land and water. They wanted our history remembered, and they wanted to encourage aspects of our culture. 56% voted for this, and the Legacy Amendment has only grown in popularity. Much of the money is channeled through citizen boards. Now, we can rightfully criticize some of the spending. No bill is perfect. Maybe we have a puppet show here, an author who we think got paid too much there, but the vast majority of the money is spent, I believe, how it was intended. Now, I can identify things in this bill that I don't like. Let you in on a little bit of a secret here. There are things in bonding bills I don't like. But we have to look at the totality of the bill. And does this bill do what the people expect us to do? Does it enhance? Does it restore? Does it protect this beautiful place we call Minnesota? The average land acquisition by the state in Legacy is about 10,000 acres. That's about what it was in 2017 when under Chair Gunther, we voted 131-0 to pass this bill with nearly twice the land purchase in it that we have today. This is basically a good bill, typical of what we do, in some ways better. Could it be improved? Sure. There's always something we can make better. But it does basically what the people expect us to do. At this point, I would urge you to vote green, but I think today I'll say I urge you to vote in the affirmative.
The member from St. Louis, Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members. But mostly I want to thank the voters of Minnesota who voted yes in that 56%, that they believed that we should have some extra money for Minnesota air and water and forests and parks and trails and ways of bringing people outside anywhere and everywhere in Minnesota. They cautioned us not to use any of the money to supplant what the government was already doing, but to supplement. They had great faith, and we have proved their trust in the years since 2008. The investments that have been made in our people of every age that have benefited in some way from one of the expenditures in the legacy fund, which is just part of a cent of everything that is purchased in the state, has proven to be one of the greatest things that have brought the people of Minnesota together and provides a cleaner, better environment for us all. Every single member that has become chair of the original legacy committee that has become chair has added to building that trust and investment in how Minnesota has changed with the dollars from the investment that the voters made in 2008. We are teenagers now on the way. There are still things that are being questioned, and that is a good thing. None of the funds should go without having to justify how they arrived at the conclusions that these were the best way to fund the projects that particular year. This is a finance bill that's before the Minnesota House of Representatives that has no target except the people's trust. And the projects in here are not for any particular people, but all the people of Minnesota, the people who have lived and will live for years to come. But some of the people that voted for this are no longer with us. Some of the people that will benefit from this have not been born yet. But this is a lifelong journey that the people of Minnesota are sharing together. And it is our obligation to try to embrace the trust that they have placed in us and to use their investments wisely. And we will build for the future of Minnesota so that when it's time to vote again, this investment will not be thrown away because it is much too valuable, because it is the people's money and the people's planning. And they should still be the watchdogs of each of the funds. And they should still be sharing their ideas with their state representatives and their state senators about how that money should be spent. But they should be enjoying the outdoors of Minnesota And on rainy days, the museums and the historical things and the culture that we're trying to sponsor should become new learning experiences for us all. And we can do that by voting yes today, midway through the 25 years, through the pilot project for the future.
The member from Crow Wing, Representative Heinzman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this bill. And to the bill author, Representative Lilly, I just wanted to make a few comments. First of all, we've always had a great ongoing conversation about this bill. Representative, you're super good to work with, and I can't thank you enough for your leadership on this bill. And most of it is really a great testimony to something working for the people of Minnesota. I am going to speak briefly, though, about the issue of SWCDs and the funding that has been brought up. And there should be concern as to how the funding has been, I will say, carefully crafted, as opposed to the process that was put in place in which the Clean Water Council has been traditionally making recommendations to the legislature and including funding for SWCDs. And in this case, left $36 million unrecommended. And that should cause some people to pause for a moment and ask themselves, is there something broken here? Why is it that the Clean Water Council could not make a recommendation? As a member of the Clean Water Council, I asked very specifically as to why this was the case and could not get an answer from the Clean Water Council. And this is something that members should understand and, as I mentioned, should be asking themselves. Constitutionality was brought up today in debate. And there's no question in the mind of many, many people that it's an appropriate place for Clean Water Council to recommend SWCD funding. And it's not supplementing or supplying in this case because projects are always changing. All around the state of Minnesota, Clean Water Council recommendations are being implemented, except in this particular category. And SWCDs are doing fine work and should be supported out of this fund fully. The reason being, as I was mentioning, that the projects are always different city to city, county to county around the state of Minnesota. So I'd love to support this bill, but because of the problem specifically with SWCDs being put into a box by the legislature, as opposed to being able to just do their work as it's needed around the state. The legislature in this bill is prohibiting them from just simply doing their job and fitting the projects in their districts as they need to. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we are so fortunate to represent the people of Minnesota who voted for the Legacy Amendment and people who continue to value these investments we've made that have enriched their lives. I really love serving on this committee because the Legacy Amendment is a promise Minnesotans made to each other to tell the story of who we are and what makes us Minnesotans. We protect our beautiful and sacred environment, our love of outdoor recreation, and the art, literature, films, music, and stories that we create. We need to tell stories about our triumphs and our missteps, and this bill expands that story to include all Minnesotans. And so thank you so much to Representative Hassan and Representative Zhang for speaking so beautifully about those investments just now. And arts and cultural heritage isn't the only fund where we've prioritized racial equity. Chair Hansen just spoke about all of his work on clean water, which is an essential stand for environmental justice in my community and in communities of color across our state. Every member of this body knows that communities of color face greater pollution in their air, water, and soil than white Minnesotans. And in this bill, we fund critical programs to study PFAS, microplastics, and chemicals from tires and how they impact our water and ultimately our health. Another area that is a particular passion of mine is protecting all Minnesotans from lead-contaminated drinking water. And this bill appropriates money to remove lead service lines, which is one of the #1 areas where our drinking water is contaminated with lead. Lead service lines exist in many underrepresented communities across our state in both urban, suburban, and rural Minnesota. And often municipalities and homeowners do not have the ability to change both the publicly held and privately held parts of the lead service line, and this bill prioritizes changing out those lines. So thank you, Chair Hansen, for your work, and thank you, Chair Lilly, for including this in the bill. In my district, I have the honor of representing the Northeast Arts District, which is a thriving community of working artists that has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. One of our most beloved events in Northeast Minneapolis is Art a Whirl, where people from across the state come to view and purchase art. They come to dance, listen to music, and really sample the best of Northeast Minneapolis. I would typically invite members of the committee and members of this body, but it's usually the last week of session, so I'm not sure a whole lot of us can get out and enjoy art across the river, but maybe someday. And you know, this year, Art a Whirl was unfortunately canceled because it was not safe for us to congregate in studios, breweries, and dance floors where Art a Whirl takes place. Artists I represent talked about how difficult this past year has been, but also about how the Arts Board and investments from the Legacy Amendment have made the difference in both their lives and in their families' lives. I think it's really important that we've all been able to come together around this, and even with all of the struggles, the Northeast Minneapolis Arts District is currently being voted on and is #3 in the nation for Best Arts District. You can vote for I think it's I forget which newspaper it's. Oh, it's USA Today, and they're doing a poll right now. I will be sure to send all of you the link so you can vote for Northeast to be #1 and beat Dallas. It's very important to all of us that we retain our best in the nation, so members, please vote. The pandemic hasn't just affected my district. This bill acknowledges that our museums, theaters, zoos, and other cultural centers that are so cherished in our communities will be there for us when we've all been vaccinated. I personally cannot wait to see the new Quetzalcoatlus exhibit at the Science Museum and learn more about these prehistoric flying reptiles. One of the bills that Chair Lilly alluded to earlier that I'm really, really excited about is the Appetite for Change's Community Cooks program. The Community Cooks program delivers meal boxes with ingredients to families to learn to cook traditional meals with fresh, local ingredients. Appetite for Change is based just across the river from my district in North Minneapolis. With their Community Cooks program, Appetite for Change collaborates with community organizations to directly serve families experiencing food insecurity and a lack of access to fresh and nutritious food. These meal boxes are culturally specific and teach about their traditional foods and different ingredients. They include instructions for family-friendly and wholesome meal grounded in our traditional foodways. This is also an important bill for our rich agricultural tradition as they collaborate with local farms such as the Good Acre. Food is integral to all of our cultures, and I'm really glad this bill can recognize and celebrate culinary arts. Another project I want to highlight is Wilderness Inquiry's Canoemobile program. Wilderness Inquiry had the most memorable presentation I've seen in a committee, where they presented from the Stone Arch Bridge at 8 a.m. in a blizzard and sub-zero temperatures. It was maybe our roughest winter day of the year. And after hearing their presentation and learning more about the Canoemobile program, I can see why they were so passionate, and I would also stand out on the Stone Arch Bridge to help them get this funding. Canoemobile is a program, it's a floating classroom where kids from communities like mine, where they might not have the chance to go paddling, can get out in a Voyager canoe and learn about their area's science, history, geography, and culture. We heard from Principal Ruzek from Riverside Central Elementary School in Rochester talk about the impact Canoemobile had on his students. He said the transformation, how they interact and notice their natural environment after a day out on Bear Creek, made them more excited about getting outside, coming to school, and protecting the environment they live in. They talk about becoming biologists and exploring state parks and even the boundary waters. I think we all want our children to love the outdoors as much as we do, and really this project made me think about a quote from another Minnesotan, from Sigurd Olson, where he said, "There is magic in the feel of a paddle and the movement of a canoe, a magic compounded of distance, adventure, solitude, and peace." I think that we can teach both that and our cultural heritage to students through the Canoemobile program, and it's a great thing that's included in this bill. And I'm sure I could go on, and I think many members of the committee could as well, about every single project, but I'll leave you with one final thought, members. Here at the legislature, we talk a lot about problems, which we absolutely should. It's our job. But in this instance, Minnesotans have asked us to fund joy. They asked us to fund catching the biggest fish they've ever seen and the story about how it got away. They've asked us to fund water we can drink and give to our children without worrying what else might be in that glass. They asked us to fund parks and trails to dream about what might be around the corner and the view from the ridgeline. And they asked us to fund dancing and singing and beauty. And so in a year where joy has been exceptionally hard to come by, I ask for a green vote for joy. Thank you.
The member from Monoman, Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so I'm going to be the spoiler here today, I guess. One thing I want to address first is I do want to thank Chair Lilly and the members. I will say that Chair Lilly is a fair chairman in the committee, and he was certainly willing to hear all arguments. And for the committee members who stuck with getting this done, although I do have a complaint that we only met once a week and it was really hard to get everything in. There are some things in the bill that I don't remember hearing in committee, and I'll ask you about those here in a minute. I know I did miss one day, and maybe that was it, but before I start on the bill, I do want to address Representative Erdahl. You know, he did talk about when Chair Gunther was chairing the Legacy Committee and that he had 100% vote off this floor, and that is true. Even I voted for it at that time, but at that time, the chairman allowed for a lot of needed reforms within the bill. And so that's one of the reasons that he did get the votes coming off the floor, because there are some problems with Legacy that need to be corrected, and we've worked on some of them, but more need to be done. And I will also say that when that bill came back out of conference, it didn't get quite as many votes because those reforms were taken out. So I'm going to start off first to ask the chair if he would yield for a question.
He will yield. Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, or excuse me, Madam Speaker and Chair Lilly. On page 32, starting at line 14, it's section 3 on that page. And I've read this over many times, and I think I might have you don't have the bill, Chair Lilly?
Can somebody bring Chair Lilly a copy of the bill?
Let me read it to you. Okay. It says, money appropriated from the Outdoor Heritage Fund shall not be used to purchase any land in fee, title, or permanent conservation easement. And then there's language stricken there. If the state of Minnesota or a political subdivision of the state owns the land in fee, or the land is wholly or partially subject to conservation easement. So, and it seems to replace the stricken language, and I'm not really sure why they did that. Maybe it's to make it more clear, but maybe you can answer that. But then it goes on and it says in B, paragraph B says, concerning paragraph A, it does not apply if. Okay. The purchase creates additional district benefit to protect, restore, or enhance the state's wetlands, prairies, forest, habitat, or fish, game, and wildlife. And the purchase is approved by an affirmative vote of at least 9 members of the council. Now that's existing language. I don't really see the point in this at that point, because what paragraph B does is actually eliminate paragraph A. But the question comes in on the bottom under 2, where it says the purchase of the land that is partially subject to conservation easement and no money appropriated from the Outdoor Heritage Fund is used to pay the purchase price for the portion of the land that is subject to the easement. Nothing in this clause prohibits the money appropriated from the Outdoor Heritage Fund to pay for the cost or other expenses associated with the acquisition of the land as part of a larger acquisition. And I think I might have a grasp of it now, but I'm wondering if you can explain that to me, Chair Lilly.
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green, hats off, that's new stuff. I have the bill, and luckily our star photographer told me what page, because I wasn't sure I had lost that. So my understanding is the language that you're referring to is from the Lessards Council, and it's technical in nature that they you know, just kind of cleaning up some of the language that was existing. So I'll try to see if I can get a better answer, but that's the best I have it for this very second.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It seems to me, and I'll ask the chair if he'll yield here in a second, it seems to me that I think the agencies are doing this, and also, so this has been a practice. And now I see that we're actually codifying it into law, and I'm wondering if you know for sure, have they been practicing this before it was legal for them to do it?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. I was lucky enough to get through technology to have some feedback. I don't sit on the council, as you know, Representative Heitzman and Representative Becker-Finn do, but this is technical in nature, and the council is asking for it. That doesn't answer your question, though, but it tells you where it's come from, and I don't know if they were doing it in the past. I'm guessing they were having a problem or it wasn't admissible.
Representative Green.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I do have a problem with that. If they were practicing that, which I think they were, that instead of questioning them, we would go ahead and codify that into law. But I'll go into the bill a little bit, and I'll start with the outdoor heritage portion of it. There's an entity out, or organizations out there called non-government organizations, NGOs for short, just so you know what I'm talking about. And they're allotted money from these funds, and quite a bit of money actually. And most times these organizations only act as a middleman, and they act mostly to purchase land. And there are supposed to be stipulations on how much money the state agencies can spend. And I believe they get around that by going through these NGOs, because the NGOs almost never keep this land, just so you know. The land actually gets turned over a lot of times to the federal government, sometimes back to the DNR or other organizations. So it's a little shady, if you ask me, that instead of someone coming in and asking for funds to purchase land, they go through other entities to try to hide it, and that's a problem. Now, as was stated, there's not quite as much land purchased in this bill as there was in previous bills, and I'm thankful for that. However, of the nearly 6,500 acres that are purchased, almost 2,600 of them will not have PILT. And for those who don't know, PILT is payment in lieu of taxes. And so roughly 40% or more of the land that's purchased in general, coming through this committee, between 40 and 60% is taken off the tax rolls. And I just need you to know that when that land comes off the tax rolls, it damages our schools, especially in greater Minnesota where this land is purchased. It damages our cities and our counties, our townships. There's money that's desperately needed for all of our services out there, from roads and bridges to law enforcement, to city streets, and again to schools. The land is no longer available for young families. That's another thing that really bothers me. The land has gotten so high priced where they continue to buy this property that no one can even afford to purchase even a few acres to build a house. Another thing in this bill that's becoming a growing concern is conservation easements. There's almost another 14,000 acres in here that will be purchased with conservation easements. Now, generally, a lot of people don't think that that's a big deal because the conservation easements, the people retain the land and they still pay property taxes on it. But they're very limited on anything they can do on that land. And for the last several years, I've been getting folks coming in on a regular basis asking if we can do something about their property tax because they can't use the land and yet they're still paying property tax on it. And I think that we're going to see in the future a lot of these properties that are under conservation easements are going to end up in tax forfeit, and that's not going to do anybody any good. The other thing about the lands and conservation easements is they have trouble selling it. Who's going to buy it? I mean, you're going to go spend any kind of money for a piece of property that you can't do anything on. So we need to be looking into that as we move forward. One of the parts of the legacy that I do support and hope that we can see more of, as opposed to acquisitions and easements, is the restoration and enhancement. If you're looking for bang for your buck, in this bill alone, there's over 76,000 acres of land or water, and the cost to enhance it is about $38 million. In contrast, the 20+ thousand acres that is either purchased in fee or in conservation easements is costing almost $79 million. And this has been typical throughout the years. And if we're serious about wanting to use these funds for what we say that they're intended for, we need to get away from the acquisitions and start looking more and more into restoring what we already have. According to a DNR report released in 2016, so it's old, but it's the last one they did that I know of, the state at that time held 8.5 million acres of land. And by the way, I think they were farming themselves or renting out about 30,000 acres of that, making them probably one of the largest farmers in the state. And they also had 2.6 million acres of water. And there's an additional 3.4 million acres that the federal government owns in Minnesota. And the numbers do not reflect the additional lands purchased or since then, nor do they account for the tax forfeited properties since that time. I've not been able to get any numbers on what the NGOs still own or nonprofits, but out of the 51 million acres of land in Minnesota, plus the 2.6 million acres of water, I'm not afraid to say that if we're not at 1/3 of our property now in some sort of public entity ownership, we're getting very close. And that's a big chunk of the state, 1/3 of our state. So the other thing with the land, and this is also true with the parks and trails that we'll get into, is we have a real problem with the state managing this land. They don't have the money. And yet they come back year after year for more money to purchase more. Almost any farmer will tell you of the weed problem that we have. These agencies will come and they will mandate that farmers take care of their weeds on their field, if it's CRP, or in their ditches. But they don't take care of their own land. And I get complaints every year on state land with invasive weeds that are spilling over into the ag land. And then they'll come and get cited for weeds on their own land. There's $8 million in here for the Met Council. 2.5 is for replacing private sewer lines. And I think this is a worthy project. And Representative Jordan also mentioned that they would be replacing lead supply lines. Also might be a worthy project. But I'm wondering what happens when we open up these funds to go do private homes. I mean, if you want to destroy this fund, open it up so that everybody has a chance to go in and update their home. The lead-lined pipes, whether they're service lines or drain fields or drains going out to the city sewer, are a real problem, and they do have to be addressed. But this will eat this fund up if we go down these roads. So look out for that. Parks and trails. Over $100 million in here for parks and trails. And this goes back to some of what I was talking about already, and unfortunately we're already seeing trails deteriorate. We're not keeping them up. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago now, a senior citizen that came to me with a broken arm, and he was angry because in Minnesota, and especially maybe in greater Minnesota where there's a lot of water, there are a lot of frost boils in the spring. And the land and the trails will, like any other piece of land, the frost boils come out, they separate. And this particular trail was paved, and it was dusk, and he didn't see it, and he flipped his bike over and broke his arm. The other thing, and so we continue to buy more land and spend money for more trails, but we're not maintaining what we have. And that is a problem. Parks. We've got 87 counties in Minnesota and numerous cities, and almost every one of them has at least one park. The city that I'm from, Boston, I think has 3 or 4 right now.
We're not really going.
So there's a lot of parks out there. In addition to this, the state has 75 either parks or recreation areas. Out of those 75, and these numbers are from the last account, 21 of these parks were self-supporting, and the rest lose money. And it's costing the state at that time, in the last numbers I had, over $3 million a year just to maintain parks that a lot of people don't ever go to use. So that's a problem. So we're not paying close enough attention to where our money's going. This is going to be a reoccurring theme in this bill as we go through it, in that we give money out to agencies or entities, and we don't have a firm grasp on how the money's being spent. That's a problem. This is our job. Representative Murphy talked about the watchdogs for the legacy money. We are those watchdogs right here. And a lot of these funds come in, they go out to these entities, and we never see the results. We ask for the results. Some of the problems are that we don't know what the projects are in most cases until after the money's been allotted to them, and a year or 2 later, we get the list of those projects, and if we ever have time to go through them, because they're hundreds of pages, it's sometimes too late. Article 4, arts and cultural heritage. It's almost $150 million goes into arts and cultural heritage. 47% of that goes to the Minnesota Arts Board. And this is probably the second biggest problem that I have with this bill. You know, we hear all kinds of great stories, and I've seen some of the stories too, and yeah, they're okay. There's some good projects out there. But that doesn't give us an excuse to just toss money out there and say, I saw a good project once, so let's put the money out there and let her roll. In this fund, this is one that a few years ago, hopefully they said they've corrected this. This is the fund where one person got $13,000 to take a trip to the Caribbean to view sunsets to get ideas for paintings. Another one in this fund was around $3,700 for someone to create a video game blowing up pipelines for children. And so there's a lot of other things in here. I do have a couple of questions, if Chair Lilly would agree to.
He will yield. Representative Green.
Thank you. Chair Lilly, you got the bill in front of you. Can you maybe turn to page 47?
Did you want him to yield?
Yes, if he will yield. I thought I asked, Madam Speaker.
I'm pretty sure he can get to page 47. Representative Green.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're making fun of me. That's all right. All right. Page 47. There's another thing in here that, and maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. there are stipulations in the legacy fund, and this is something that I worked on before, and I think we tried to correct it. And the stipulation of supplement but not supplant. On line 47, there's $1.9 million in here, and it's to address a previous study from 15 years ago and reassess it. Does that fit into this?
Representative Lilly.
47.12.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. Thank you for the question. I'm not certain on the answer, but I can answer your previous question. Can we back up to that?
Sure, go ahead.
So back to your DNR question on Lessard Sams. That's a technical amendment that makes sure that outdoor heritage, which you actually should like, doesn't pay for already protected portions of parcels. So they're not like double paying. So that's what that previous one. So you were right. That was a good catch. So on this one, it is looking at microplastics and plastics in areas that have already been found to be contaminated, to kind of see where they're at now, is what I'm hearing.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate that, but I don't know if that answers the question as far as does it actually comply with the supplement, not supplant. But going back a page to page 46, starting at line 21, this is kind of along the same line, and it also addresses something we talked about before too, and this is to do testing for private wells. And as for the microplastics, nanoplastics, nitrates, and so on. And here again, you know, we could get into whether or not it's appropriate to fund private projects for homeowners. But what really concerns me on this is, do you think that, or is there anything else in the bill that would lead this to somehow mandate that if anything is found, that these private homeowners would be forced to replace their well?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. Again, you know, to your question, these are new projects, so they wouldn't be funded. I'm not sure where you're seeing that they were funded in the past, so I'll try to catch up on there. But you know, ideally, you know, if you find that a well is contaminated, I guess I would hope that people would want to figure out what's wrong and try to figure out a solution, whether you know, we're helping them through this program or if it's something they need to do themselves. But I would think people would want to know.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate that answer, and I'm sure that they would if they could afford it. But on that particular piece, it just does the testing, but there is no money in there, I don't think, unless I misread it, to help them to fix the well. So they'd be on the hook for it should they be able to afford it. And just to answer your question on the previous one, for the 1.9 million, the study was already done. It was done 15 years ago, and they're going to reassess it. But we can move on to page 52, the Board of Soil and Water. There's a significant amount of money in here for Board of Soil and Water, and I believe it's 43.5 million. And a lot of this money comes with a stipulation that counties have to either adopt the One Watershed, One Plan, which some counties anyway in my area do not wish to do, or the funding is tied to that. But it says otherwise they have to have their own surface water management frameworks provided, and that's on page 53. The only reason I bring this up is because I've gotten a lot of questions from my county commissioners asking, are they going to pull our funding if we don't go with the One Watershed, One Plan? Are you familiar with anything on that aspect?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. Actually, I find one of the neatest things in here is if you have an opportunity to look at the One Watershed, One Plan on the internet, there's some amazing things that are being done. So I'm a little startled, and I think some of the work that's been done, I mean, you could find, I've seen great testimony where they've worked with farmers and they're out doing great things and projects, and they're really, so I'm a little confused by your question.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The question is there a chance if the county boards do not adopt the One Watershed, One Plan, will the funding be withheld from them for their water projects?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. I actually don't know the answer to that, and certainly we could get that to you. I would think that the funding would continue, whether that's through the legacy or through the general activities of the counties and some of their areas. You know, one thing that you mentioned, I just want to quickly answer too, because we're kind of doing this, it's kind of fun actually. So this, you know, you mentioned the lead in the metro and, you know, getting into that. And I think, again, that's really a neat program in the metro that they're doing some of this lead replacement. You know, there's things that's going on too with like toilets, you know, to get I mean, I hate to talk about this on the House floor, but it's like low flush and it's like saving water and it's helping families convert some of this. This is going on at the same time we're able to, which I love, it's balanced. So in greater Minnesota, you know, we always, I've been on Capital Investment Committee, and Representative Erdahl and Torkelson, they love PFA, and there's $16 million going into PFA in this alone. It helps folks in greater communities in greater Minnesota do amazing projects all over. And if you know, it's rated, there's a special system, they go down the line, and I think Representative Erdahl has some that are coming up, you know, and Representative Davids have some that are right on the bubble, and hopefully they can include these. So that's, some of these are really good programs that are going on with these funds, and then lapping with the effort that we make in Environment Committee and also in capital investment. Thank you, sir.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for that answer, Chair Lilly. But the question was not, are they worthy causes? The question is there going to be enough money to fund them all if we open the gate? But back to page 53, starting at line 6, and this is another thing. It's a little bit confusing, I guess, and maybe that's just me. Maybe you can explain it. Starting at line 6, it says grant recipients must identify a non-state match and may use other legacy funds to supplement projects funded under this paragraph. This appropriation may be used for, and then it goes on, and I think I'm probably wrong here, but the question is, are they saying that you can go and find other legacy funds to match the funds that are required?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. Thank you. Actually, this is good. I feel like I'm one step behind you, though, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Can I back up to the previous question on, are they going to be kicked? Can they participate? They can. They can still be eligible for clean water funds. So that's an answer to that. Please restate your question, sir. On the
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate that answer, and so will my counties, and I'm glad to get that on the record. And next time, if we ever find ourselves here again, I'll give you a list of my questions, and you can have them ready to roll. But on 53.6, it says grant recipients must identify a non-state match and may use other legacy funds to supplement projects funded other than under this paragraph. This appropriation may be used for, and then it lists. And it just kind of popped into my head when I read it, and I think, and I hope I'm wrong, are they saying that you can use other legacy funds for your match for these funds?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Representative Green. I believe that, yes, that is the case. Or local buy-in would be, probably more desirable. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to, some of the things that we're talking about earlier. We had great testimony from, from Representative Anderson and Representative Heitzen, and maybe you're going to get to this in your points too, but I really appreciate it on the soil and water conservation districts. And we're going to, we did fund the first year. I respect that, and we're going to look at it. We're trying to figure out how to fund it right, how to do it right, because it is a good program. And what Representative Heitzman and Representative Anderson were talking about is spot on. It's a good program, and we're just trying to figure out how to fund that correctly. So that's why we did a front load on the front year on that one, and then the second year. It's not an absolute question, but on this one, I believe that we want local buy-in with the funds that are clean water funds as well, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think that's kind of how we do it in all the projects.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess that's not the answer I was hoping for, because I would disagree with you that we should be able to use state money for a non-state match. So that's not really a local buy-in, that's a state buy-in for state money. So, yeah. I really don't have too much more. I would like to go to page 60.
He fell out of a tree, you kind of got to go easy on him. He's been on his feet for a while here. Representative Green.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Speaker. I guess I don't think I'm trying to go hard on him. I just want some questions answered. This is an area where there's been some disagreement, even among people I know, and this has to do with wanting to do a study to merge SWCDs and watershed districts. And the reason I'm kind of concerned about this, and there is a question here after, but SWCDs have been asking for a long time for taxing authority, and we have been unwilling to give that to them. We have enough people taxing us already. Watershed districts actually have taxing authority. There are many of us who believe that the watershed districts are in much need of revamping. A lot of the water, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of the watersheds are sitting on a lot of money because they can tax. The merging, and also the watershed districts, in a lot of people's view, in greater Minnesota have become nothing more than an arm of the agencies, whether that be Bowser or DNR. And by merging these and putting them under these, even more under these agencies, the fear is that we're going to have agencies now with a taxing authority, and that's, in a lot of people's opinion, kind of dangerous. But the question is, further down in there, on 60.15, where it says, after it talks about the watershed districts and the SWCDs, it says, and other joint power organizations formed to manage water. What other joint powers and organizations would that be, do you know?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Green, I'm not certain of the answer, but I think there's someone very close to you that might know the answer. You might want to ask someone right in front of you to yield.
Well,
Representative Green.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, but it's your bill. So I thought I would ask you. I'll guess I'll find out the answer somewhere else. I think I only have two more questions, and then I'll close. On page 106, and also I'll do them at the same time because they're along the same lines. It's also page 109, 109.10, 106 starting at line 33 and going on to 107.2. One is for arts education, and there's $10 million here, and It's for high-quality, age-appropriate arts education for Minnesotans of all ages to develop knowledge, skills, and understanding the arts. So the question is, who decides what is age-appropriate education for all ages?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. So the question is, who decides what is age appropriate? And these issues are given deep thought in each of the agencies, and each when they're granting and putting forth these ideas. These aren't done without thought. There's panels that decide, and they break it down. And you mentioned a couple problems in the years, but really we've been lucky. There really hasn't been problems in the last few years. And when you think of in the arts area, for example, there's over 2,500 grants. And art is a wonderful thing, and everybody has a different opinion of what is art and what's appropriate. But I think we've done pretty well, thank goodness, so far. And that's part of our committee. We've laid forth some expectations that people are cautious and careful, given that this is public money. So specifically to that question, I don't know the answer, but I know that through conversations I've had with arts folks that they're looking at it. I had an opportunity last biennium to go and watch as they were giving out grants, the panel, and they were asking questions and going through, and it was very, very detailed. And that was just one of the, one of these groups, and they're all over the state that are deciding, regionally what's appropriate and what's of interest in different parts of the state. I think that's one of the beauties of the system. It doesn't just, it isn't some group in St. Paul deciding what's best to go perhaps in your district or Duluth. It's, there's different sections. So these are thought out, and to be quite honest, people are cautious because it's public money.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would say I think the answer to my question is that the Minnesota Arts Board is going to be deciding what's age appropriate. I would also say that given some of the things I've seen them fund, I personally am not really comfortable with them deciding what is age appropriate. I have then a follow-up question because of your answer would be, does this mean that they're going to find something that's age appropriate for all ages at the same time, or are they going to break it down into sections? Does this mean, Representative Lilly, excuse me if he will yield, Madam Speaker.
He will yield. Representative Green.
Thank you. Does this mean that they're going to find age appropriate material that can be used for anybody from toddlers to adults and have one gauge on that? Or are they going to start picking ages and decide what's appropriate for certain ages?
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Representative Green. I'm certain that the decisions are made, based on the market, that they're trying to reach. If, you kind of know what you're aiming at. So I think they're trying to, pitch the ball where it needs to be hit. So they're kind of aiming it right into the spot and trying to do good work. I mean, there's 2,500 grants that are going out a year. They're going to be variables. Some are going to be for adults and some are going to be for children. But I certainly hope you get out and see some of these. They're really quite good. And these grants, it wouldn't be just this alone. All the grants are thoughtful, and the libraries are thoughtful, and the children's museums are thoughtful. The science museums, the zoos. I mean, they're going to be thoughtful of. I would imagine most things are general public, but it's art at the end of the day. It might be more challenging than when, maybe it's beyond a youth, or maybe it's, some adults aren't going to want to see a children's story time or something.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, but if, maybe I'll just make the comment, and if Chair Lilly wants to address it afterwards, he can, instead of going back and forth. This doesn't say that this is for a grant. This says that this is to develop, in somebody's opinion anyway, high-quality, age-appropriate arts education for Minnesotans of all ages. That's what it says. They're not looking for a grant. They've got the money in their hands, and it's a considerable amount of money, by the way. And they're going to develop curriculum, if you will, for education. The Minnesota State Arts Board is going to develop curriculum for education. That should be a problem. It really should. The other thing then on 109, and I promise this will be the last one, and I won't ask any questions because I think I've beat it enough already, but on page 109.10, it's another over $200,000, and it's to be used by the Board of Directors of the Minnesota Historical Society to either produce or purchase and distribute a book to encourage and educate elementary school students on Minnesota natural resources, legacy, culture, and history. The book should be made available free of cost. That certainly is fine because they're using state money, but it's to libraries. And here again, at the end of the day, these guys are deciding what's going to be appropriate to put into our schools. I mean, I've got a lot of problems with the Department of Education already and some of the things they're putting out. And now we're going to let the State Arts Board and the Historical Society actually go out and either produce or buy books to give to our kids. And the other problem that I have is, and you're talking about these 2,500 grants, I know, I've looked through them. The problem with them is you don't ever see them till a year or two after they've been granted. And there is no watchdog on them. People come in, the Arts Board, they'll apply for money, they get their money, they go out. No one sees the end product until after it's done. That's not the way anybody should be operating here. Just here's, you want some money, here you go. So I have a problem with the bill, although I do appreciate the work that the committee goes through. I think we can do a much better job. I do know I'm not going to call anybody out here, but I do know there's people on both sides of the aisle, because I've talked to them, that also believe that we can't just continue to let these councils run roughshod on us, just have their recommendations, and we approve the recommendations, and if the legislature comes up with other plans and says, no, this isn't quite right, then they get attacked for not approving what should only be a recommendation. So I won't be supporting the bill, but again, Representative Lilly, I appreciate you answering my questions, or trying, and you won't be getting 100%. Thank you.
The member from Hennepin, the Majority Leader, Representative Winkler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Green, for asking all the questions. We have an important bill in front of us, members. It's easy, I think this week in particular, it's easy almost every legislative session, but in particularly this week, to think that the legacy bill is one of the least important bills. It doesn't deal with dollars and cents in people's businesses or lives in the way that other bills do, like taxes. It doesn't deal with our democracy, our voting system. It doesn't deal with life and death, with police stops. It doesn't deal with a lot of the most difficult issues we've been facing related to COVID-19. But it does deal with the good life in Minnesota. It is a bill that makes living in this state, and reminds us why living in this state is such a unique privilege and gift. It reminds us of the legacy that we have received from countless generations of indigenous people who have preserved the land and water of this state. It reminds us of the kind of connection to trails and parks, hunting and fishing, arts and culture that we want to leave for our children and our grandchildren. Every year, it would be easy to dismiss this legacy and to let more important, more pressing issues guide our work. But that would be letting down the future. That would be letting down our children and our grandchildren, because preserving the good life in Minnesota, updating the good life in Minnesota to make it relevant and accessible and meaningful for all the people of the state, for all the ways that our state has changed, is what this bill and what this amendment and what this fund is all about. I want to just personally thank Representative Lilly, Chair Lilly, for your endless enthusiasm for this work. From your social media to your legislative session and your committee work, you are always promoting what is best and what is most optimistic and future-oriented in our state in this legacy amendment. I also want to thank your committee members, Representative Zhang and Noor, Representative Jordan, members who are new to this issue. Did I say Noor? Representative Hassan, for your work on this committee, because I know that you have pushed and you have made changes, and I know that the institutions, the boards, the councils that have been there for a long time expect things to be done in a certain way. This amendment started with hunting and fishing groups wanting to collect money from their sales tax, and that was about it. And now it is so much more because of the people who are here requiring Minnesota to change and be relevant for future generations. So thank you to the committee for that work. Thank you for being diplomats and finding a way to move forward together. And members, we should vote yes on this bill today. This bill is about what makes living in this state great. And it is a profound legacy that we can leave for our future. Please vote yes.
The member from Ramsey, the author of the bill, Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, members. Sometimes this turns into more of a day than I expect. It's a great honor to carry this. It's really not my bill. This is all of our bill. This is every one of us in Minnesota, like the leader was just saying. We're so lucky. We're the envy of many places in the country for these funds. And I'd like to just quickly, I'm sorry, everybody's had enough, but I want to just thank my team. Vice Chair Jordan did a great job. And, the Speaker, I have two honorary chairs. You heard Representative Murphy here on the big screen right here, and it's scary to follow her and the great leadership of Representative Erdahl, and to be follow up on following them. They give you quite a bit of feedback, believe me. 24/7, but it's a labor of love, and I'm not going to be the chair of this forever, and one of the team is going to take over, or one of your members, and hopefully just does great work and keeps it going for Minnesota. Thank you, Representative Green. You got a taste of a few of the questions you had today. We got a flavor of that during committee, but that's not a bad thing to have challenges from both sides of the aisle, and that's kind of what I tried to say in my opening, that we really, on both sides of the aisle, we were really challenging people to really do a good job. And I want to thank, I'm just going to go through the list, Representative Acomb, Representative Anderson, you heard him, Representative Bowe, please keep him in your thoughts. He's got some stuff, personal things going on with his health. Representative, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it. No. Representative Christensen, Representative Hassan, Representative Nelson, Representative Waslick, and Representative Zhang. Thank you all for being there for us as a committee and stepping up. I thought the Speaker was playing a joke on me because I don't know if she knows I'm not much of a morning person, so she gave me the 8 a.m. slot, and I thought, oh man, but it worked, and we stepped up and we got her done. But I really want to thank the staff too. Ms. Zipko over there, thank you for your leadership on the GOP team, and Mike Molzon on mine, and Ms. Hirsch, my CLA. A lot, it's very tricky what our staff is going through with COVID and trying to manage appointments and all that. There's many, many appointments, and a nonpartisan staff, and I hope other members just realize what we got in this building, just helping us day after day. Ms. Roberts, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Mullen, and Mr. Hagemar, really a great job. If you get a chance, go into the bill, take a look at it, because every one of you has something in your district that you can be really proud of. And yeah, maybe you want to make a vote on whatever today, but really at the end of the day, this is good work all over Minnesota. It's a success story. It's still popular with the voters. These are great things, and it's stuff that we all can be proud of. Thank you for your discussion today. It's so nice to be back on the floor and see your faces, but this is what it's about. It's about Minnesota, and I would appreciate a green vote if you, maybe not that green vote, but this other green vote on the board, and thank you for your time today.
The clerk will take the roll on the bill.
Those voting remotely, please vote. Will the clerk call the names of those members who haven't voted yet?
Baker.
Baker votes aye.
Baker, aye. Bennett.
Bennett, no.
Bennett, no. Berg.
Berg, aye.
Berg, aye. Davids.
Davids votes aye.
Davids, aye. Damath. Damath, no. Eklund.
We just moved in this past town.
Eklund, aye. Fisher.
Out 30.
Fisher, aye.
Fisher, aye. Frederick.
Frederick, aye.
Frederick, aye. Gomez. Gomez, aye. Grossel.
Russell, no.
Grossel, no. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, no.
Gruenhagen, no. Hausman.
Hausman, aye.
Hausman, aye. Keel.
Keel, no.
Keel, no. Katiza Wattoon.
Katiza Wattoon, aye.
Katiza Wattoon, aye. Kreshaw.
Kreshaw, no.
Kreshaw, no. Liebling.
Liebling, aye.
Liebling, aye. Lilly. Lilly, aye. Listlegard.
They must be buying it, otherwise.
Listlegard.
Listlegard, aye.
Listlegard, aye. Mariani.
Mariani, aye.
Mariani, aye. Mason.
Mason, aye.
Mason, aye. McDonald.
McDonald, nay.
McDonald, no. Morrison.
Morrison, aye.
Morrison, aye. Mueller. Mueller, aye. Pearson.
Pearson, aye.
Pearson, aye. Pinto. Pinto.
Pinto, aye.
Pinto, aye. Poston.
Poston, no.
Poston, no. Pryor.
Pryor, aye.
Pryor, aye. Sandsted.
Sandsted, aye.
Sandsted, aye. Sundin.
Sundin, aye.
Sundin, aye. Thompson.
Thompson, aye.
Thompson, aye. Zhang-Jie. Zhang-Jie, aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 79 ayes and 52 nays, the bill as amended passed and its title agreed to.